Bismillahirrahmanirrahim ji. Today's our first lecture ji on what literature, or what we call it, that knowing about the literature, what is literature generally. I am not actually going for the specific exact definitions of something. That I should call it that the orientation of that the mental clarity, that why, what is literature, why do we study literature, what are the areas where we basically work upon literature. So taking a start with our first lecture today ji, regarding what of literature. That when we talk about literature ji, generally, usually, conventionally, traditionally, that it is a term used to depict life. There could be thousands of definitions that among all those, the most common is considered to be that literature actually encompasses life. That it depicts life, it covers life, or what is there in human life, dealing with all the aspects of that. And today we are going for its orientation. At first we need to orient ourselves to get the conceptual clarity. As usually it is said that the knowledge gives pleasure. And why? What's the reason behind that? That what I learned from our teachers, that why does knowledge give pleasure? That it is directly linked with clarity. Actually, I must say that knowledge actually gives clarity, and that clarity leads towards certain pleasure. That whenever I am in a confused state of mind, whenever I am there with certain confusion about something, either we say that I don't know about it, or I can say that I am not clear about it. And when I am not clear, how can I be happy with that? How can I get pleasure out of it? And as we say that the difference between happiness and pleasure, whatever the different definitions, perceptions are there, but it is based upon clarity. And how can I get a clarity about something when I myself am not oriented about it? That whenever we take a start, whenever we want to begin with some subject, we named it subject. Now basically it's some area, some branch of knowledge. As you know that the universe, the whole universe is there, working according to certain system, where man is the main element, considered to be the pivotal element, and everything revolves around man. Because man is given what conscience, man is given what wisdom, man is given priority due to certain reasons. And that reason basically revolves around knowledge. It revolves around human brain, human wisdom, human way of thinking. So at first, whatever branch of life is there, field of life is there, field of knowledge is there, or I want to know about something. At first, I need to, or I should, or I must say that I must clarify I must orient myself that. And in orientation, I always go for certain questions regarding it. And what are those? There could be dozens of questions. And questions are always there. Not for some answers. Questions are not always there to find out the solution of something. Question actually gives us a lead. Question actually takes us towards certain inquiry. To search or research. I'm repeatedly, emphatically saying that question actually stirs us. Clear? It gives us a stimulus. Clear? To search or research upon something. Ji. Clear? And as it is said that, clear, as usually, that everywhere you will find that truth, it is basically an inquiry. Clear? To find out the truth. Clear? Truth of what? Ji? Clear? The hidden secrets of universe. Because that wherever we are living, clear, we are not living in just, though everybody is there personally with certain sphere of living. Clear? But that sphere now, specifically referring to modern technology, communication tools. Clear? There was a time that when man could be there alone with just his own family, with just his own community. Clear? With every coming moment, when we are moving towards globalization, don't you think that with every coming moment, sphere is also expanding now? Clear? I must make it simple that when I'm standing alone here, there are only my concern, my finance, my education, my learning, my knowledge, my clarity, my society, clear, my actions, my reactions, clear, my thinking, or the material of my thinking, the source of my thinking, and the actions based upon that thinking. Clear? But when I'm moving out of myself, then my family, then society, then surrounding, then all those things. So all this inquiry, clear, in that where science is also coming there. Clear? Where development is there, whether development or promotion or demotion, whatever it is, clear, it is basically, it is all the branches of, what should I call it, that learning, knowledge or inquiry deal with what she, a search of truth, to find the truth of everything. And what is that truth? True spirit of something. What is the true spirit of something? True philosophy behind everything. For example, if one branch of sciences, that if I'm dealing with certain physical aspects, clear, and when I'm dealing with physics, why am I studying basically physics? To find out the truth of something, that how do the things physically exist. Clear? What is the phenomenon behind it? Clear? What is the logic behind that phenomenon? What is the reason behind that? Clear? And if certain people develop certain rules, clear, they people set certain principles regarding physics, clear, what's the logic behind those principles? Or what would be the outcome of those principles? Don't you think that, in simple words, I'm trying to say that whenever we study something, whenever we want to learn something, whenever we want to know about something, at first we need to decide that what are we going to do? Why are we dealing with it? In simple answer, the whole word is that basically it's an inquiry to find out what? Truth. Clear? And what is that truth? Clear? In that, basically we deal with these questions. What? Clear? What will be the subject matter? Clear? What will be the topic of discussion? What will be the main concern? What will be the content of that? Then after that, why is that being dealt with? Why am I trying to explore it? And usually, remorsefully, I must say that the answer I get from students, that it's a part of syllabus. For example, what are you studying? Literature. Yeah, as I said that today we are talking about what? The orientation. Clear? Of literature subject. That the answer is what? Why are you studying it? Because it is there in syllabus. This is not the answer. Clear? Today we will discuss that. That what is being dealt with. Clear? And why is that being dealt with? Why are we, clear, trying to explore it? Clear? Then how? how is that being dealt? That matters. But above all, how should it be dealt with? How should it be studied? With what angle? With what perspective? For example, if you are studying some novel, a question is that what are you studying? I am studying a novel. Why are you studying? Number 1G, for entertainment. Number 2G, to learn something about it from the subject matter, from the theme, from the idea. Okay? For example, G, that for the sake of what, G? Inquiry. For the sake of research, search, I know about something. Clear? I know about some story. I know about the cause of some tragedy. Now I am reading some other novel. Clear? To what, G? To know about his point of view. That suppose, according to me, for example, the cause of modern man's tragedy is confusion. For example, if I am saying that conflict. Clear? And I think that what are the reasons of those conflicts? The reason of tragedy is what? Conflict, inner conflict. Clear? And according to me, that the reasons of inner conflict are these, for example. Now I am reading novel, somebody else's novel, to know that what is his point of view of, clear, the reasons behind conflict. Clear? For example, according to me, the reason could be their ignorance, and some other person is saying that the reason behind that conflict is not in inner ignorance, social pressure. For example, don't you think that sometimes we know about something, but knowingly we face certain conflicts because of what? Social pressure. So from where I got it, G? Why am I studying it? Clear? To know about the other reasons of that, G. Am I clear, G? Then next important that how will it be studied? Keeping in mind what aspects of that, G. Clear? What areas should be targeted first, G? What are the aspects should be focused upon? I am reading a novel for the sake of entertainment, agreed, G. But at first, don't you think that I need to define what entertains me? For example, if I say that, suppose one aspect of some story entertains me. Clear? Is it necessary that the same aspect would be entertaining you? No. From the same story, clear, one person enjoys one element of that, another person enjoys some other element of that. Clear? So how means that at first I need to define certain parameters that working upon what lines I need to study it. Clear? Or what is the way of studying something? What is the mechanism of studying something before taking a start of studies, or before taking a start with reading of that? Clear? What are the things, clear, that should be kept in mind? Clear? And if let me try to explain it in some other way. For example, if a person even doesn't know, clear, that what is he studying, why is he studying, and above all, how is he studying that, will he be able to extract, clear, different aspects of that, G? Or writer's view of writing of that, G? Obviously no. Clear? Because he is just blindly reading. A simplest example, the biggest masterpiece on the face of earth of literature, the Holy Quran. Clear? There are 300 different types. I'm not saying that 300 connotations or 300 interpretations, 300 types of interpretations of Holy Quran are there currently existing in the world. Mean to say that different scholars, different people interpreted different verses or subject matter of Holy Quran in different surahs, different ayahs, interpreted them in different ways. For example, clear that the historians, clear they studied it with history perspective, chronologically. For example, the saints, Sufis, spiritual personalities, clear tried to find out the spiritual element out of it. Got my point? What is the spirituality in that? Clear that, for example, a didactic tried to find out what that the wisdom or the lesson out of the same verse. So don't you think that although these people are interpreting the same masterpiece of the universe, of literature, clear, in different ways? Clear? So when I am reading it, at first I need to decide that whether I want to extract the spiritual element out of it, clear, revolutionary element out of it, practical element out of it, morality out of it, the reason of tragedy out of it, the reason of the same, two different sides of the same coin, that the reasons of the happiness out of it. Why am I studying it? So when I'll define why, automatically it will lay out how mechanism of that. Got my point, Ji? And finally, Ji, last but not the least, for what? Above all, very important. In orientation, I am saying that there could be there, I raised these 4 questions. You could be there, your 400 questions. Somebody else could be there. I am not debating. I am not marginalizing these things. As I said in the very beginning, that today we are actually discussing it. This is our first lecture, first day. Clear that we are discussing it generally, to develop our general perception before taking a start towards it. Clear that for that, clear, I am not exactly defining it. I am not exactly discussing literature as per given definitions, clear, by great critics. Whatever I learned from my teacher, clear, on the basis of that, I'm actually trying to define certain area of my studies, that clear, where would I play, clear, what are my limitations, clear, I'm actually trying to define the lines moving on what clear, I'm trying to understand what literature, and specifically what here English literature. Got my point? So we'll discuss these one by one, so taking a start with first one, when I'm saying what. Obviously literature, and today we are talking about what, English literature. Keep one thing in mind, that whenever we are talking about what, English literature, I'm not talking about exact definitions of literature. Generally, it is about the literature of English people, related to English people, English society. Whenever I want to know, clarify certain concepts, but I got clarified, whatever I utter here, it is on the behalf of my respected teachers. That whenever we study, for example, French literature, I want to know about French people. Arabic literature, I want to know about Arabic society. And usually it is written in what? That same language now. Certain people are just confining it to what the literature of English people. Basically it is there, basically. But in modern world, literature produced using English language is also considered to be the subject matter of English literature. I may repeat that. Basically English literature is what? Whatever we discuss about English people. Their culture, their thinking, their mindset, their dogmas, their doctrine, their philosophies, their concerns. But in the modern world, even if it is produced by some non-English person in English language, about some other society, that is also considered English literature. Clear? But there are certain reservations regarding this second point of view. Can be added, no problem with that if somebody wants to add that. But basically it is about whenever we say that English literature, it means that the literature or the life or the study of life or depiction of life of English people. French literature, the depiction of life of French people. Urdu literature, the depiction of the life of Urdu speaking people, Urdu speaking community. Am I clear up till here? Have you got the idea that basically the life of English people? Later on though, that even Ahmad Ali, some other writers, Asian writers, very well-known writers, reputed writers, whatever they wrote in English is also considered to be what? English literature. Clear? And there are certain reservations. Clear? That principally it can't be considered as English literature. Am I clear, ji? Then, as I said that literature, depiction of what? Life. It depicts life. Now there comes the next question. Life of whom? Obviously that mankind. Now I am expanding the sphere of it. As I said, that what are we going to study? What are we going to learn about it? Above all, I am the biggest learner. I am the one most needed. Am I clear, ji? To be with certain clarity of conception, ji. That what? Literature, ji. English literature, English society, depiction of their life. Their life in what aspect, ji? Basically start from what, ji? Mankind. Am I clear, ji? That what mankind, you know that man, the prime creature of God. Clear? But when I am saying mankind, ji, is mankind only there with its own existence? Can I say that I am the salt of earth, that I am existing on the face of earth, or I can exist on the face of earth even if there is nothing else? It's not possible. Clear? Though, clear, it is there now, ji. Number one, ji. It is based upon certain relations, connections, concerns, thoughts linked to it, ideas linked to it. Regarding what? Man himself. Man himself, ji. I'm talking about a study area of literature ji. That what is literature ji? What are the things need to be clarified first ji? So from where to begin ji? Man's relation to himself. When I'm saying himself ji, जाजा वड़दा मंदर मसीते मन अपने च वड़िया ही नहीं. Clear? I'm talking about जी surrounding politics जी. I'm talking about जी clergy जी. I'm talking about what जी financial system जी. I'm talking about ruling system जी. I'm talking about other people जी. Clear? I'm talking about every other thing other than me. Don't you think that I'm actually creating certain gap, or I'm actually taking a start in a wrong way? Clear? Basically it starts from what she? Himself. Man's relation to himself. That it deals with what she? Different relations now. Clear? We'll develop a web of it. Clear? It's a universe. What I learned from our teacher ji, literature is what? A universe, not a world. It's a universe. Clear? What are the different areas encompassed by this universe? Why is it considered to be the most important area of studies in the world? Or why is it said that whatever is there other than this literature, whatever other branch of knowledge, branch of learning existing on the face of earth is basically comes within literature? This was a misunderstanding, misconception ji, that people separated literature from sciences ji, from modern sciences ji, from technology ji. That science is something else, literature is something else ji. I'm repeatedly saying that what I'm saying it on the behalf of my teachers from whom I learned. Clear? Science comes within literature. Technology comes within literature. Why? I'll try to prove. I'll try my level best to prove. Got my point? Ji? And another very important thing, ji, I wanted to mention here, ji, clarify here, ji, that even literature became what, ji? That like a pro or pre, two divisions, pro or pre culture. Literature is always there with certain own boundaries or own limitations, ji, which could be there for you something else, which could be there for you something else, which could be for you something else. Ji. Clear? It can never be exactly defined. That's why it is said that nobody till now could exactly define literature. What I have learned from my teachers, clear, that they said that literature, clear, is a universe now. So whatever keeps on coming, whatever is new, don't you think that it will automatically get into the sphere of literature? Ji? Got my point? How? I'll tell you that. When I'm saying, ji, number one, himself. Ji. When I'm saying himself, ji, self-clarity, ji, self-realization, self-identification. Ji. As it is said in Holy Quran, ji, man arafa nafsahu, or if I'm not wrong, Hadith Pak ji, man arafa nafsahu, faqad arafa rabbahu. The one who recognizes himself, he recognizes God. Even Saint Sachal Sarmas wrote a poem on this. Ji. He who came to know himself. A very famous poem ji, by Saint Sachal Sarmas. Translated in English now. Ji. He who came to know himself. Don't you think that it is the most important aspect on the face of life? Ji? Before taking a start with something. Ji. I'm studying what? Ji? Sociology. I'm studying anthropology. I'm studying what? Ji? Psychology. I'm studying political sciences. Ji. I'm studying what? Ji? That biological sciences. Ji. Geological sciences. Ji. Clear? Physical aspects of that, metaphysical aspects of that, and I'm not studying what myself. Don't you think that I'm at fault? I began my journey from wrong steppings. Got my point, ji? So that literature deals with what, ji? As you people, you'll come across in the coming sessions, inshallah, you'll come across stream of consciousness, ji. Inner conflict, ji. What is that stream of consciousness, ji? What does that mean? Basically, it comes out of what, ji? When you try to know yourself, ji. Self-identification, self-realization, ji. Clear? And self-realization, ji, that who am I? Clear? What is my role? Who am I, ji? A man, creature of God. Or if I'm generalizing, ji, a man, ji, creature of some divine power. Different religions, clear, in different ages, people talked about different things, ji. Somebody called it some unseen power, ji. Somebody divided it into gods and goddesses, ji. Somebody called it what, ji? That some one creature of universe, ji. Even those who negate, clear, that there's existence of something that who created God. And directly or indirectly, they are also once again talking about what, ji? That entity. Now the question is even still for them, that who are they? And secondly, what is their role? What is their duty? Clear? As it is said in Holy Quran, ji, that it is not said, clear, it's like a challenge. That that, oh man, do you think that we created you useless? Am I clear, ji? That it was a challenge. That it shows that man, it is a consensus, whether they believe in God or whether they don't believe in God, whether they believe in one God or whether they believe in multiple gods, clear, or Bhagwans or Devis, Devtas, whatever you call. Got my point, ji? Clear? This is a consensus there. Clear? On what, ji? That what's the role of man? Why am I here on the face of earth? What's my purpose? If I am existing, do we exist or not? We exist, na? Got my point, ji? So then what's our role, ji? That's self-realization, ji, self-identification, ji. Clear? Then my ideas, ji, my thoughts, ji, my thinking, my way of thinking, ji, my perceptions, ji. Then ji, conflicts, ji. My feelings, ji. My liking, my disliking, my actions, my reactions, which is called self-studies. We'll go for certain things. As we talk about tragedy, don't you think that sometimes tragedy is not because of others, or because of outer factors? Clear? You will come across many forms of tragedy. Had been discussed in different ages by different people. The tragedy remained there in different forms, in different shapes. One of them is that no outer force was there. Man became tragedy what? Because of what? His own inner conflict. Oedipus Rex became tragic what? Because of his own impulsive nature. Though prophecies were there, but his own impulsive nature was also playing certain important role there in making him tragic. My feelings, number one, whether do I feel or not? What do you think? Does everybody feel? Don't you think that if I agree to your perception that everybody feels, the planet Earth would have become like heaven. Do they feel the pain of the poor?
No.
Then how can you say that everybody feels?
Someone.
Someone, sometime feels the same thing, and the same thing, which is the base of certain feelings, is useless nonsense for some other person. Got my point? It means that in that case, one person is feeling it, another person is not feeling it. Clear? Sometimes you feel, sometimes you don't feel. Got my point? Punjabi se कहते हैं ना बेइज्जती. Does everybody feel that? Some people feel it too much and some people don't feel. Even in Hadith Pak, Rasulullah said that. If a same sort of person is there, first nama sheta. The person who doesn't feel this, clear? फिर जो दिल चाहे करी जाओ. Got my point, ji? That shows that everybody not know. Then why do you call certain people sensitive and certain people senseless? Sensible or senseless? Got my point, ji? That these differences are there. That sometimes some people have certain feelings and those feelings lead to certain thinking, thoughts, and those thoughts actually become the cause of certain actions, ji. Some people, I'm saying that. For example, the love for the poor, social work, individual development. If all the peoples of the world start feeling the pain of the poor, would there be any poor on the face of earth? It means that feelings are also different. Na? And feelings matter. Na? It could be their good feelings, it could be their bad feelings. So don't you think that we also need to study it? May I discuss it in some other angle? What makes you feel? Clear? And what doesn't make you feel? What makes you feel right and what makes you feel wrong? Got my point? That it is always there with its own philosophy. Na? Clear? With its own importance. Na? If I am ignoring it, clear? That simple, another example, that in a same classroom, clear? That different, suppose 30, 40, 50, 100 students are there, as you people are all sitting there, that sometime I say something, clear? If I criticize something or if I rebuke somebody, clear? Do you all feel it insult?
No.
Some of you feel it insult and some of you feel it a source of correction. Got my point? Another example, failure. Somebody faces failure, clear? And it gives way to the development of certain feelings in form of dejection, dismayed attitude, desperateness. On the other hand, in some other case, another person faces failure, clear? That he makes it a source of learning. Self-corrective measures are there on the basis of failure. Na? Got my point, ji? So don't you think that in two different cases, clear, the source was same. Source was what? Failure. But feelings were what? Different. Got my point, ji? So this comes in what, ji? That man's relation to what? Himself, ji. So that literature, I'm saying what? Literature. What will I study? Clear? Otherwise it will remain what, ji? That novels. We studied what, ji? Novel. We studied what, ji? Common layman, he studies what? Just story, a novel. वाह जी वाह, दैट वाज अ ग्रेट ट्रिमेंडस, मज़ा आया ये भाईजान, चौंधी चौंधी स्टोरी की जी, मज़ा आ गया ये। क्लियर, अंदर पर्सन बिकम्स क्रिटिक, got my point? After reading that story, clear, he goes for what जी, critical analysis of that. Clear, what is that modern data analysis? From where you get that data? Could that data be there without all these entities, without the studies of that? Why do we go for data analysis? To gather certain results out of it now. Clear, that due to what reasons I remain what successful, and due to what reasons I remain what G failed one. Got my point G? Next G, after that G, man's relation to what? Divinity. I'm not even calling religion. There is no such term. Even in your holy book. Islam is not a religion. Islam is not a mazhab. Islam is a deen. Got my point, Ji? So what about Christianity? What about Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism? Got my point? So I'm generalizing it, using a general term, that divinity, divine entities, divine existences, divine norms, divine principles. Here, I would stop you to clarify one thing. Another perception is also there, another debate is also there, which I myself confronted, that whatever is there, it comes within religion. Clear? I'm making the sphere of what? Literature. Clear? And I'm saying that I'm of the view that, who am I? I'm nothing. Clear? My teachers, from whom I learned, according to them, that literature is like an umbrella. All other aspects are there, including religion or including divinity, comes under it. Got my point? But there are certain other people, they are of the view that, I'm not calling somebody right or somebody wrong. I'm saying that these are all perceptions here. Everybody could be there with his own perception. But I'm referring to what the perception I developed from my teachers. That, okay, agreed. If we say that religion is the biggest entity, clear, and whatever is there, it comes under the umbrella of literature. That is very important point, G. Very delicate point, very sensitive point. Needs maximum clarity, make it clear. Agreed, G, okay. Then if you are follower of Islam, getting my point? And you are studying what? English literature. You are studying what? English literature. And you are trying to study English literature, English life, English society, English individual, English politics, and the religion of English society. So you will look into that with the glasses of that, putting on the glasses of what? Islam. Can you study it? No. Their religion is what? Christianity or Jewish or whatever. Even pagans. They were pagans even. Yes. Can you study them? Being a Muslim? No. Got my point? Today we are talking about English literature. After that, I'll discuss that. For what? In that time. That suppose after studying it, you become a critic. then you must also be aware about what Arabic literature, Persian literature, or whatever other literature is there. Will you implement all the principles of Islamic point of view on English society? Or will you be able to study them properly, remaining within the sphere of what? Islam? Got my point? Is that clear? Or will you be able to? Or if some Christian is there and he is studying, or in other words, I must say that should you ignore them? Or can you ignore them? Can you ignore their norms? Can you? Christianity and Jewish belief, they are also both accepted religions now. Am I clear, ji? So you need to study them with their angle. For example, the Holy Quran, Arabic. Can you study even your own Holy Quran without putting yourself into the shoe of Arabic society of that time? 1400 years back. Are you getting my point? Can you study Quran? Clear? Taking you back 1400 years. Or even after that, suppose certain incident happened there. And that incident was there in a certain context, in certain background, in certain situation, in a certain society, in a certain culture. And you are not actually taking yourself, your mind or your flight of thinking to that society, to that culture. Will you be able to understand that situation? You are living in 21st century now. You are living in Pakistan. You are living in what? Subcontinent. Being an Asian, can you understand the norms of Arabs or the norms of Europeans? Not at all. Another example, there are many things which are not good in your society. Clear? But acceptable in their society. They have no problem with that. And that is not at all causing any social damage. On the other hand, there are certain things, clear, not acceptable in their society, but acceptable in your society. Got my point? That's why I didn't mention who is studying it. Clear? While studying literature, you have to lose yourself. You can't study literature being a Muslim, being a Christian, or being a Hindu. You have to lose your own identity when you are studying literature. Without knowing about their culture, without knowing about their norms, without knowing about their cults. Whatever you are, whoever you are, you have to lose yourself. That's why it is said that the literature is the biggest entity. Religion comes within it. Literature is the biggest sphere or the bigger sphere than religion. Religion comes or divinity comes within it. Got my point? Otherwise, you would just be sticking to what Muslims say. And if you are studying, for example, English literature, suppose Christians are there, Jews are there, pagans are there, Sikhs are there, Hindus are there. Don't you think that you need to study them all? Am I clear? And when you are actually studying them all, it is called what? Literature. And when you are saying that the religion is the biggest entity, clear, and religion comes under that umbrella. Religion is bigger entity and literature is smaller entity. So you will obviously focus on the literature of that religion now. you would be holding the umbrella of what? Islam. So you would be studying the literature of what? Islam. A Christian would be holding umbrella of what? Christianity. So he would be holding the umbrella, he would be studying what? Christian literature. Are you getting my point? Is that clear? So you must say that literature is, that's why I said that the biggest masterpiece on the face of earth is the Holy Quran, Bible. Got my point? Is that clear? They are masterpieces. In other words, I must explain it. Does Quran deal with only religious concerns? इकबाल said ना, जुदाओ दी सियासत से तो रह जाती है चंगेजी. You are saying, even you people are saying that religion is something else and politics is something else. Holy Prophet ﷺ became the first king of Medina. Didn't he do politics? That was the politics now. When he actually that went for certain treaties with Jews and went for war in Badr with Quraysh of Makkah. That was what? Politics now. He went for war, that was what? War strategies now. And war is what? A part of what? Politics now. When he went for what? Mawakhat Medina. Clear, the sharing of property. That was what? Finance now. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
If you are defining religion to what? Just your prayers, just your mosque and just your church. No. Am I clear? So in other words, we can say that, or dare to say that, religion is literature, literature is religion. Got my point? And all these other aspects come under the umbrella of that. Got it? So you can equalize them. You can equalize them. But keeping in mind what general perspective of that. And if suppose, another example, that if you want to even study of Arabs, and you are just confining yourself to Islamic literature of that, can you understand that Islamic literature without knowing about the background of Arabian society, Arabian culture? Got my point? And even the culture of non-Muslims. Previously they were what? Non-Muslims. Then they were converted to what? Islam. So without knowing about their non-Islamic attitude, non-Islamic culture previously, can you study their current Islamic values, current Islamic attitude or current Islamic character? Not at all. Am I clear? So that's why, am I clear?
Yes,
Are you getting my point? Clear? So that's why I mentioned what divinity or religion as one aspect of what literature. In that what mankind. In that mankind, I said what that at first man's relation to himself, then man's relations to what divinity, means to his God. Clear? Whether he believes or not. Some of them are believers, some of them are non-believers. So can you say that you will just study believers? Or can you say that you will just study non-believers? Clear? Why? Why am I saying so? Next point is very important. Man's relation to what? Society. Even I am mentioning it before family, deliberately. Man's relation to what? Society. And in that society, can you say that I'll just talk about believers, I'll not talk about non-believers? Where do the believers live? With non-believers. And where do the non-believers live? With believers. Lakum deenukum waliya deen. We got these principles from what? Divine book. Got my point? That's why I mentioned it here. Otherwise, another opinion is that religion is the biggest entity. Literature and all literature, sciences. Sciences come under literature. Got my point? They people divided how? this is what literature, this is what science. Clear? With due respect. With due respect. This was the problem. Look at that, sciences and humanities. What does it mean that science has nothing to do with humanity? Science is some inhuman act. I dare say, with due respect, on the behalf of my sheikh, my teacher, is science, when we even mention in our curriculum, in our education system, clear that these are what subjects of what? Sciences. And these are subjects of what? Humanities. What are we trying to say? That the students who studies, the students who are studying humanity, clear, they are trying to become humans. And the students who are studying what? Science, they are inhumans. What nonsense is that? Are you getting my point? Sciences are there for what? Humanity. Sciences, in other words, is also humanity. Got my point, ji? Is that clear? Society, ji. Clear? That man's relation to what? Society. In that society, ji, what different? The impact of society on individual or an impact of individual on society. Keep mentioning these points. That individual versus society, or society versus individual. Sometimes, don't you think that certain individuals influence society? That's why it is said that one person can make a difference. And history is full of certain examples. On the other hand, simple example, your own society. I'm a teacher, a humble teacher, or even with apologies, I should not call myself a teacher. Clear, a humble student of my teachers, being a student of literature, being a student of my teachers, clear, I dare say that, don't you think that majority of our social evils, clear, are affecting our individual deeds as well? Our individual is under the pressure of what? Certain social norms. Log kya kahenge? You do certain things because of what? Social pressure. And you don't do, you refrain from certain things because of what? Social pressure. you do certain bad things because of what? Social pressure. And you abstain from certain good things because of what? Social pressure. Am I clear, ji? So next area of studies in literature is what? Man's relation to what? Society. So now, as I said, why did I mention divinity there? Now go reverse. In that society, don't you think that a person could be there, or different people could be there with different religions, with different cults, with different norms, with different mindsets, with different differences of opinion? Got my point? Is that clear, ji? So that thing, ji, that is also our area of. Now you are studying what, ji? Pottery. Somebody was saying a few days ago, ji, poem. This is poem in British accent and poem in American accent, ji. This is not poem. That's why it becomes what, ji? Pottery, ji, when you are not oriented. We don't study pottery. We are not potters, pot makers. Clear? Poetry is there. Clear? Not all the time. I said that one reason is what, ji? That self-expression, or teacher is just, the poet is just expressing his own thoughts, minds. Generally, I'm saying that even if he is expressing his own personal thoughts, he must be actually trying to cover the area of what? His relation to himself, relation to religion, his relation to what? Society. Got my point? Then, after society, then I'm coming towards what? Family. Man's relation to his family. You will come across certain novel there, ji, in coming classes. Ji. That girl became tragic just because of his father. Even after getting married, he remained under the influence of what, ji? His father. His father was a dominant personality. Clear? He was here with a certain dominance of his aura, and husband was there, not meeting that. Clear? She wanted to have that stature, that status, that even after getting married, she was carrying what? Pistols. She was having the portrait of the pistols of her father. She even couldn't get out of that state of mind. So don't you think that the family played the role there? Another one, smoke screen is there. There you come to know that the girl was the victim of what? Certain family norms. Whatever was going there in what? Family. Where does the individual stand? Once again, I'll go for your society. Don't mind with apologies, because we got the best society on the face of earth, na? Ironically. Clear that I try my level best to find myself that where everybody says to me that where do I stand? But I love to, this question is mine. I reserve the right to ask this question, that where do I stand? I means some individual. I mean some individual. But where is the individual? Clear, individual is losing his own identity. Though it is agreed. I'm not negating that fact that individual is nothing without society. Not at all. Individual is nothing without family. Even in the beginning I said that now individual is there in a global family. But clear that if individual is losing, diffusing himself because of what? Family norms, family pressure, family social norms, religious norms, all those things. Remember one thing, that all these things are for individual. Individual is not there for all these things. Religion is there for man. Man is not there for the religion. Got my point? Society is there for mankind, for man. Man is not there for society. Individual is there for those ideals, for those feelings. Feelings were not created there and put in some chest for that man. Man had been there, feelings were there as an outcome of that. If there had not been a man, there wouldn't have been any feelings, there wouldn't have been any society, there wouldn't have been any religion, need of any religion. Why do we need this religion if an individual is not there? Man had been there. That's why we had been enjoying the charms of a family, charms of a society. Am I clear, ji? Got my point? Am I clear up till here, ji? Then, ji. And specifically in other society and family, other human beings, very important, ji. Then, ji. There could be hundreds of roles, ji. Then, ji. I'm deliberately mentioning it, ji. Profession. Okay, ji. When we say profession, I'm talking about certain importance. Few entities, ji, encompassed by the study of literature, the study of mankind. These could be dozens, these could be hundreds. Clear? I'm just trying to give you an idea. For example, profession, ji. Clear that we took a start from what, ji? Classics, ji. Or even pre-classics, ji. Babylonians, ji. Got my point? Clear? Can you say that the norms, the belongings or concerns around individual in that time, be compared with the norms, surroundings, concerns of modern man? No. Every age is there with its own differences, na? With its own demands, na? With its own dominant aspects of life. Na? Profession, ji. We had been dealing with what she in classic or Middle Ages literature, tragedy. Mostly we go for what she tragedy, na? So don't you think that sometime that a modern man is facing, and not even sometime, I stand corrected, not sometime, majority of modern people, majority, clear, they are tragic because of what? Their professional life. They study some, specifically in our society, we study something, we do matric in something else, intermediate in something else, graduation in something else, and we do job in something else. Got my point? Don't you think that person would become tragic? Because why? Because he won't be able to grow up, na? When he is not growing, when he is not getting inner satisfaction, how can he progress? And when he is not progressing or when he is not there with inner satisfaction, you can say that he is tragic, na? Got my point, ji? Clear? So that profession, then once again when I am saying profession, ji, clear that liking, disliking, actions, reactions. Don't you think that if we are going to study literature, clear that the prologue to the Canterbury Tales, you will come across those things, ji. That is basically clear, and Chaucer, ji, father of, Abbaji of, and he is depicting his age, 14th century, through what? Through what? The stories of different families, through different professions. Certain people are there linked with clergy, so he depicted the picture of that age of clergy, a religious segment, church of 14th century. Somebody is a farmer, clear, somebody is there a knighthood, worship. Am I clear, ji? Somebody is linked with what, ji? Law, rule, justice. Somebody is there, ji, aristocracy. Am I clear, ji? Somebody is there with clash of personality. None, but wanted to be what, ji? An aristocrat. Got my point, ji? Is that clear? So that is what, ji? Profession. So man's relation to his what? Profession. Then, ji, keeping in mind modern perspective, ji, nature, ji. When I am saying nature, ji, usually, unfortunately, ji, we stick ourselves to what, ji? The beauty of nature, ji, the plants, flowers. The father of romanticism, ji, Wordsworth, ji. In Solitary Reaper, unfortunately, with due respect, ji, that what is the interpretation of that poem, Solitary Reaper, ji? That basically Wordsworth got engrossed with, ji, clear, the beauty of the voice of that girl, ji. Not at all. Not at all. Emphatically not at all. Authentically not at all, on the behalf of my respected teachers. Clear? He was not affected by that, ji, the beauty of the nature and surroundings, ji. Even one of Pakistani critic talked about what, ji? That he was actually captured by the beauty of that girl. No, he was captured by the spiritual power of that voice. That's why it is said that the Wordsworth is what, ji? Wordsworth talked about the spiritual power, spiritual element of nature. The nature is there with certain spiritual power. Somebody call him pantheist, ji. That he worshipped nature, ji. He believes that ji, nature is God, ji, or the God can be seen in nature, ji. Not at all. He just preached what? Spiritual power of nature. Some unseen power. That every element on the face of earth is there with its own power, with its own importance, with its own significance. And your modern sciences proved it now. Modern sciences are, or specifically biological sciences, I dare to say that Wordsworth is the father of modern sciences. Wordsworth preached that man should study the nature around him. And when I'm saying nature, that whatever is on the face of earth is there the part of nature, one segment of nature. Man around you is also nature. Plants, nature. Water, nature. Air, nature. Different elements, nature. Seen, nature. Unseen, nature. Physical, nature. Metaphysical, nature. Even metaphysical. Can you see everything around you?
That spiritual power is something different than divinity.
Spiritual power, Veena. What should I call it? That unfortunately, we link spiritual power with what? Religion. With apologies. But just go for the word spirit. What is that? That means spirit. That power, force. Man is there with its own inner power. And what is that inner power? The very existence, the very nature of man. That is what? Nobility. What is the real power of man? Nobility. Man is by birth noble. Clear? And within man, man is a combination of what? Body and soul. You'll come across Donne, metaphysical poet, John Donne. Got my point, ji? So let me clarify. That spiritual power means that everything on the face of earth is there with its own importance. With its own importance of existence from where I began. Clear? Plants, you studied them. You at first see that the looks of a layman. A parent look gives you what? That the plants are there with beauty, plants are there with fragrance. Wordsworth taught you science. You studied plant and you got what? You developed what? Medical science. Modern medical science, I dare say that, got developed clear by the preachings of the people like what? Wordsworth. You didn't start surgery. You didn't start the study of clear that physiognomy or physiology of human being. Biology was not there previously. Botany was there previously. Got my point? Clear? That even if biology was there, even human disease was being cured, clear, through what? Nature, surrounding. That which plant is used to treat what? What thing? Another example, ji. You studied water, ji. One element of nature. You studied water. Clear? Wordsworth said that do study water. Water is there with certain spiritual power. What is the spiritual power of water? You used it. You converted into what? Kinetic, mechanical, electrical. Wind. You studied, you developed what? Cellular technology. Got my point? In that poem, he was saying that the girl is singing. How is it possible that the song of a girl, clear, is overflowing the valley without any loudspeaker? He was talking about the strength of the voice of that girl. How is it possible that even it is breaking the silence of farthest hybrids outside England? How can the voice of a girl travel, clear, that miles away? hundreds of miles away. How is it possible? Clear? That was the strength of spiritual strength of, or that was the strength, spiritual strength behind that voice, behind the power of that voice of that girl.
The way they said that Surah Rahman cured.
Yeah, very good example. That you people, modern sciences are using what? Surah Rahman to cure the diseases. Na? That is what spiritual power of that voice. Na? Got my point? Clear? That in another, then he says that he is unable to understand the language of that girl. But still it's a melancholy song. You will come across these things. Now you must have studied even inter-level. That how can you understand how can you say that the song of that girl was sad when you are unable to understand the language? That was what at that time the spirit of Wordsworth was in connection with the spirit of, not that girl, with the voice of, clear, that sound of that girl. Clear? And we got the examples in history. Ya Sari al Jabal, miles away, the Caliph is talking to, during Jummah sermon. Jummah sermon is going on. Clear? I'm talking to you. Clear? I'm saying, I'm ordering somebody that move to the mountain. Miles away, a battle is going on. Caliph is ordering that warlord, that he was actually stuck there. Clear? And then Muslim army was getting martyred rapidly. He was confused that he wanted to go back to mountain. He wanted to retreat to rearrange his, clear, re-strategize. But he was actually confused that if he actually ran back, clear, he may not be considered as a fleer. But he heard the voice. How can somebody listen the voice miles away? And normally, sometimes you talk to your mom and your mom asks you that you are not feeling well. She perceives that through your voice, no? Got my point? Clear? And he preached romanticism. We got what romanticism is what that romance, what usually is considered. That was what freedom, liberty of thought. Clear? Liberty of expression, liberty of research, liberty of inquiry, and that liberty of inquiry led to the modern form of science. I'm emphatically saying that romanticism or the movement by romantics led modern world towards what? Free inquiry. There we simply say that inquiry of liberty of thought, liberty of expressions. And what is that liberty of thought, liberty of expressions? Free inquiry now. And what is that free inquiry? Research. And what is that research? Modern sciences. They people perceived, they people judged, they people well read the message of romantics. Clear? And that liberty of expression or liberty of thought developed new ideas, scientific ideas, political ideas, social ideas. And we are still adhering to stupid type of, I'm not saying not at all, make it very clear, that Quran, Sunnah, those are fixed, universal. I'm not talking about universal norms. I'm talking about local, stupid type of cultural norms, whose origin even we are not clear about. From where we got that culture, those customs. Am I clear, ji? Got my point? So nature was for this. Look at this, the modern form of that. Clear? Why did I mention it in the end? Clear? I took a start from here, no? Then I moved towards what? Divinity, then society, then family, then, for example, another example, And finally, I'm saying what is nature, ji? Why? Because it is whatever exists around man. That is a part of what? Nature. Global warming, climate change, one of the biggest issues of 21st century, on horrible type of upcoming issues, upcoming challenges of modern man, about which modern man is not still ready for what? To tackle with, how to tackle with. Am I clear, ji? So this is what, ji, we are going to study. We are going to study few aspects I mentioned here. Few things. Next, inshallah, next class, we'll study that. Why are we studying it? That's all for today. Any question?
Socrates or
I can't understand German, would you please?
who are Socrates and
Socrates,
yes,
Socrates.
or Socratism?
Sorry?
Socratism?
Well, we'll come to know about it. At first, let me clarify, define on that. Why are we studying it? What are we studying? Clear?
Yes.
That Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Phocles, Euripides. Got my point? Chaucer, Shakespeare, Bacon, Russell, Spencer, Donne. We'll go over all those. Don't be in a hurry. We'll tackle with them. At first, clear? The thing is, why are you studying Socrates?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Or what are the aspects clear in your mind before studying what? Socrates. As it is said, someday we'll go for a certain session that how to read a book. How to read a book comes later on. At first, how to pick up a book. What do I want to study? Why? What do I want to know? When I'm saying I'm reading a book, why am I reading that book? For the source of entertainment. So then, what sort of entertainment do I need? Then I'll go for what? Research on that what sort of writer will provide me this type of entertainment in his writings. Got my point, Vachi?
Yes.
That's step by step, inshallah we'll clarify. Any other question?
Sir, man versus man relation with man comes in the aspect of society? Or?
That is very good question. As I'm trying to develop this web, Namashi, if you conclude it, don't you think that everything is there basically being discussed in a connection of what? Man. You are talking about science, you are talking about technology, you are talking about society, you are talking about family. Whatever, we label these things, That's why is it said that literature has no bounds. इल्म जब से मुक़य्यद वर्क हुआ, नाता रूह का जिस्म से तर्क हुआ. That we people defined it, we named it. We have started cramming it. Ideas are generated, which ideas are not crammed. Or ideas are not actually, what should I say, that copied or sometimes even copied for learning. So when I am saying man relation to man, it is number one is personal. What is your relation to you? Personal grooming. Have you ever thought about yourself? That who are you? Have you thought about your purpose of creation? Well, why are you here? Have you thought about your source of thinking? Number one, thinking. That what do you think usually? Then why do you think? These aspects. For example, you can even generally do we all think alike? Do we usually majority that conventionally that people think about their personal life, marital life, financial life, social life. But always that situations are different. No? Certain things are universal, but certain things are personal. Got my point? That time you were feeling sleepy, na? That's why we discussed, na? That do we all feel the same?
No.
Then why are feelings different, na? Certain man is universal, but all the belongings of man are not universal. These things vary from time to time. In 14th century it was something else, 21st century something else. That is the problem, generation gap. One of the causes of generation gap is that. Hadith Pak that upbring your children according to their age. That in that Hadith Pak, Prophet said that upbring. Grow your children according to their age, because their age is different from your age. Got my point? So when man's relation to man means that at first you need to study yourself now. We'll study individuals there. Oedipus Rex, that though that oracle went for certain prophecies there. Got it? That time there was a temple-like thing. There were prophets. They used to predict future. They predicted the future of a child, that such sort of child would be there. And he will commit these two sins, that incest and patricide. Agreed, that prophecy was there. But what about his own wit? What about he was impulsive? What about his impulsive nature? Sometimes we think that our tragedy is because of our society. Sometimes we think that our tragedy is because of our family. No, not acceptable. Where are you? What did you do? Though social pressure was there, family pressure was there, what did you do to at least keep yourself correct? Or at least to improve yourself? To at least to develop your feelings? To at least to correct your thinking mode? You can't change society, you can't change surroundings, but you can change yourself. Got my point? That man's relation to himself. Then, how is that man, I'm saying that how is that man affecting society, or how is that society affecting man? If I'm not studying all this, can I be called an evolved person? I don't believe in Darwin's evolution. This is evolution. Man evolved within centuries because of these great writers. As I said in the very beginning, we'll discuss the Holy Quran. Masterpiece of, I love it. Superb. Stories are there or not? Short stories. Bani Israel. Got my point? That Haifa. Why? For what? We'll discuss why tomorrow. Sorry. I don't want to go to the details today. Am I clear, Ji?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Okay, Ji. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.